Your unique story, our global audience. Global One Media.
Welcome to Global One Media's exclusive one-on-one interviews with company executives sharing insights into their unique journey. I'm your host, Ashley Berry, and today, both Patrick Cruickshank, CEO and Director of 9 Mile Metals, and Gary Lohman, Vice President of Exploration, are joining us from the actual core shack, getting live results as we speak. The mineral exploration company is focused on critical minerals exploration in the world-famous Bathurst mining camp in New Brunswick, Canada. That's where they are right now. 9 Mile Metals is listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange as NINE, N-I-N-E, the OTCQB as VMSXF, and the Frankfurt Exchange as KQ9. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So, Gary, I'll start with you. Congratulations on your recent news release announcing the completion of the first half of the 9 Mile Brook drilling program. Can you explain the significance of this?
This tested a variety of targets we generated through geophysics and geology. The main target is the lens and the structural melange that hosts the lens. Along that target area, we're looking for the source of the mineralization. And there were numerous drill holes defined by geophysics and geology that we tested. To the northwest, there's a separate system that is a contact of the favorable California Lake rocks, California Lake group rocks, and the Boucher Brook sediments. That contact's important, and generally where you're finding mineralization in the camp. And we've got evidence of copper, lead, zinc mineralization and drill holes in that area, and we'll be reviewing that in the next phase. What's important is we tested a variety of geophysical targets, and now we can go back and look at that data and better define our targeting, refine it. Now we know what is important, what's not important. So with EarthEX, we generated over 100 targets on the property. Now we can trim it down and go after the most prospective.
Terrific. So you touched on the geological and geophysical targets. What about the historical artificial intelligence target? Can you talk a little bit about that?
That adds another parameter to this. There were some geochemical targets defined, and that process sort of amalgamates all the data and gives you a sort of a better targeting of where there may be geology, geophysics, and geochemistry in one specific area. So they're just not isolated little blebs. It's sort of going down a checklist, and with those you'll have maybe 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. It's important to sort of help refine the targeting.
Okay, very, very helpful. What about the mineralized system southwest of Hinge A that you had mentioned in the release? Could you maybe discuss the importance of this discovery in more detail?
That was a very unique system we found, very silicified. It was typical, like hydrothermal alteration with it. And it was a lot of pyrite and a lot of arsenopyrite. It's typical, and I'd say characteristic, of the gold deposits in the Bathurst camp. The mineralization is similar to something else we've drilled that returned very good gold numbers. And in this one, there was gold returned. They were just not as high as I would expect, but there was very good mineralization, and the mineralogy was incredible to look at. We actually had other consultants come in and look at it and sort of verified that this was typical of the gold deposits in the Bathurst camp. They were just, the gold values were just lower than we expected. But
okay.
It did run.
Okay, that's helpful. So you're in the core shack. I mean, you're not in your normal suit and tie and, doing this interview.
No.
Can you, right? No. Because you're in the thick of it, you're working. Can you kind of working in the actual field? Can you maybe explain to us kind of what's going on behind you and what's actually happening there?
Well, we've got a facility in Bathurst. So at the end of the day, when we're drilling, the drillers drop the core at our back door. And this is where we get the core. Well, wintertime, we thaw it out. The geologists look at all the core. We get it logged. The geotechnical work is done. All the mineralogy, alteration, everything's identified, and samples are selected for assay. So we also have a cutting room here where we can take the samples, cut them in half, get them bagged, and get them right out to the lab. And
so it's exciting.
And we also have an XRF machine here in workstation where we can screen samples too. So besides visible mineralogy, where it's very fine grained, we can see if there is any copper, lead, zinc in the host rock.
Okay, terrific. I'd like to move on to Patrick now. So Patrick, I'd like to ask you, Gary gave us a really good idea of the specifics and the discovery and more detail, and obviously where you are right now. Very exciting. Perhaps you could share with us, your forecast, the upcoming activities and exploration plans for the rest of this year.
Yeah, I'd love to. We're a very active company. We have multiple programs going continuously at the same time. We are halfway through our previously announced 9 Mile Brook drill program, just about to restart that. I think you've heard with all the wildfires and everything, they're just forestry is just waiting for a couple of days of rain, and then they'll let the heavy equipment in. So we expect that in the next week or so. And then we also just announced a raise for shareholders and folks where we're going to use those proceeds to advance our wedge mine project and California Lake and Canoe Landing Lake this year as opposed to next year. So we're going to be very, very active through the end of the year. And, for us, that's the fun part. I think I'll just say one thing. I think people have to realize how complex this part of the system is in Bathurst. There's no outcrop left in Bathurst, so it means everything is hidden. There's nothing sticking out of the ground, and we do need a very disciplined geophysics program to find these additional lenses, and they're very small because they're all vertical. So they're all about 500 meters on surface, but they can go down to a mile or two. So they're very difficult to find. So everyone just put it in perspective that it doesn't take one or two drill holes to discover these. It's a scientific process, and we're halfway through our program, learned a lot, and there's a certain sequence that has to be present. And we have our over 100 targets in 9 Mile Brook, and we're coming back with our analysis halfway through the program with hopefully much more success.
Okay, fantastic. And it's interesting that you mentioned the wildfires, and I'm glad everybody's safe. And you said, I guess my question is, despite the delivery of the equipment, which is impacted a little bit by these wildfires, everything else is okay, yes?
Yes, it's some fires here. Obviously, Nova Scotia's gotten a lot, and I'm praying for people out there, but New Brunswick has had some where it's not so much the big logging roads; it's the little ATV trails because of the brush and the dryness. That some of the little ATV machines and have started wildfires. So getting in the rigs themselves through these trails and the bushed area, it's potentially dangerous. And you got big fuel trucks. These things run very, very hot when they're drilling. Lots of water and so on. So it's just this happens. And right now it's we're just waiting for forestry to clear, and then we've got our drill rigs ready to mobilize and continue.
So Patrick, what specifically is your outlook for 9 Mile Metals as a company as a whole, given everything that you've just discussed with us?
Well, we're very, very excited, and we believe we've built a quality portfolio of assets. We have, besides 9 Mile Brook, our flagship with the highest grade VMS lens ever recorded. We do have that whole region of the Bathurst mining camp with We just acquired the Wedge mine and the Wedge project, and we're very, very excited about that. Obviously, it's got a resource still, and we believe our new technology going to these older producing deposits and mines, because they just used manual systems back in the 50s and 60s. And with this new technology, we can do 3D subsurface photographs and geophysics and show that this is deeper, it's bigger, it goes along this structure, and that's why we're really excited to bring our new technology to what we call orphan deposits and prove that they're bigger and the grades are better, and they come in clusters and like a string of pearls. So we're very excited with that. We had a discovery last year on California Lake and up to 19 meters almost of VMS, and that was just on our first introductory program. Now we'll do the advanced program with the drone and the 3D geophysics and build out that as well. So we have a lot of activity coming. We've already previously announced we're doing a bulk sample on our 9 Mile VMS lens. The crew is actually going out there today to continue working on that. We have applied for a New Brunswick Junior Mining Assistant Program grant. They're very supportive, a fantastic jurisdiction here in Canada, especially now with critical minerals and this whole geopolitical situation where all sovereign countries are trying to protect their critical elements and minerals for green energy and clean energy. So there's been a lot of incentives and bright future for companies such as Nine that specialize in these critical minerals, because our zinc, obviously copper for EV batteries and copper wiring and there is a global shortage of copper, but also lead and zinc and silver. I mean, silver for solar panels, zinc for batteries. It's just lithium batteries for cars that everyone thinks about, but solar panel fields and wind turbines all use zinc batteries because they hold the charge longer. So, there are lots of uses for this, and like everything, our appetite as a population, we utilize everything that we produce, so that the demand continues. So no shortage of demand for us, and we're very, very excited for the quality of our portfolio, and hopefully that dictates to the viewer.
Wonderful. Great to hear. Both of you, thank you so much. Patrick Cruickshank, CEO and Director of 9 Mile Metals, and Gary Lohman, Vice President of Exploration, joining us from the Core Shack today. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Ashley.